Welcome back to Game Theory 101. I'm William Spaniel. Today's topics are semi-separating equilibrium and partially pooling equilibrium. They are the same thing, just with two different names. Semi-separating is the more common label of the two, so I'm going to go with that for the rest of the series. Here's the game that we're going to be looking at today. Nature draws player 1, who is a terrorist group, as robust with probability 0.4 and vulnerable with probability 0.6. The group then chooses whether to commit an attack or not. If the group attacks, then player 2, who is the target, chooses whether to resist or ignore. Payoffs are as follows. If player 1 does not attack, everyone receives a status quo outcome of 0. If player 1 attacks and player 2 ignores, then player 1 gets a point for a successful attack, and player 2 loses a point for the same reason. The key difference between the types is what happens following resistance. The vulnerable group will completely fall apart if player 2 resists. This gives player 2 a good outcome and 2 points, while player 1 receives -2. Meanwhile, resistance against the robust group plays right into their hands, perhaps bringing the group more support and an easier way to commit more attacks. Player 1 receives 3 under these circumstances, while player 2 receives -3. Let's get to solving this. We begin by noting that the robust type clearly must attack. It receives either 3 or 1 by doing so. In contrast, it receives 0 by not attacking. Thus, no matter how player 2 acts, the robust type finds attacking more profitable. Now let's see if we can describe the vulnerable type's action using the types of equilibria we have covered previously. Suppose the vulnerable type separates by not attacking. Then, conditional on observing an attack, player 2 knows it is facing the robust type. It chooses to ignore and receive -1 instead of resisting and receiving -3. Given this, does the vulnerable type have a profitable deviation? Indeed it does. Bluffing is just too attractive here. If it were to attack, player 2 would ignore under the false assumption that player 1 is robust. This allows the vulnerable type to receive 1, which is better than the 0 it earns by maintaining its strategy. What about pooling strategies? Conditional on observing an attack, player 2's posterior belief equals her prior belief. If she resists, she earns -3 40% of the time, and 2 60% of the time, for a total payoff of 0. If she ignores, she receives -1 regardless of the opposing type. Because 0 is greater than -1, she chooses to resist. Given this, does the vulnerable type have a profitable deviation? It does once more. Now the vulnerable type's bluff backfires. It earns -2 for sticking with its strategy, whereas it can secure 0 by not attacking. As such, we cannot find any equilibria given our current tools. This is where semi-separating equilibrium comes into play. It is best to define semi-separation in terms of what it is not. It is not a set of strategies where each type takes the same action. It is also not a set of strategies where each type takes a distinct action. Rather, sometimes a type will mimic another type, and sometimes it won't. In our game, if the vulnerable type is not playing a pure strategy, only one option is left. It must mix. This is why we call it a semi-separating equilibrium. Whatever portion of the time the vulnerable type does not attack, it separates from the robust type. Whatever portion of the time the vulnerable type does attack, it pools with the robust type. But both of these things can happen. So the vulnerable type is semi-separating itself from the robust type. Or equivalently, it is partially pooling with the robust type. If there's one thing I want you to take away from this lecture, it is to remember your indifference conditions when solving for a semi-separating equilibrium. Yes, this means we are going all the way back to lecture 8 of this series when we first learned about mixed strategies. Suppose the vulnerable type mixes. For a player to be willing to mix, all strategies within the mixture must produce the same expected payoff. Otherwise, one option would be better, and the player would always want to pursue that option instead. Notice that attacking can give either the vulnerable type of payoff of -2 or 1. Not attacking generates 0. Thus, to make the vulnerable type indifferent, player 2 must mix between resist and ignore. And if we remember our indifference conditions, we can quickly solve for player 2's mixed strategy. Let sigma r be the probability she resists. Then we need to find the value of sigma r such that the utility for attacking equals the utility for not attacking. Attacking generates -2 sigma r portion of the time, and 1 minus sigma r portion of the time. Not attacking gives the vulnerable type 0. If we work out the math, sigma r equals 1/3. That's what generates indifference. This will be player 2's equilibrium strategy. We still don't know the vulnerable type's strategy, however. What we do know is that player 2 must mix. And for player 2 to mix, she also must be indifferent between her two peer strategies. What makes this slightly complicated is that player 2's belief depends on the vulnerable type's mix strategy. For now, let's call her belief P. This represents her belief that she is facing a robust type. If she resists, she earns -3 P portion of the time, and 1 minus P portion of the time. If she ignores, she receives -1 regardless. After doing a little bit of math, we see that she is indifferent when her belief that player 1 is robust exactly equals 3/5. As I alluded to a second ago, the trick here is that her belief forms endogenously based on the vulnerable type's strategy. This marks the first time we need to use Bayes' rule in a non-trivial way for a perfect Bayesian equilibrium. We are looking for the vulnerable type's mixed strategy that creates a p-value exactly equal to 3/5. By Bayes' rule, her belief that player 1 is robust equals the probability player 1 is robust and attacks, divided by all of the possible ways she could observe an attack. Well, 40% of the time, player 1 is robust and always attacks. This gives us the numerator. We also put that in the denominator. But there is another way player 2 can observe an attack. 60% of the time, player 1 is vulnerable, and it attacks sigma A portion of the time. So we add that to the denominator. From here, it is just a matter of solving for sigma A. Working through the math, we arrive at sigma A equal to 4/9. By exploiting the necessary indifference conditions, we have arrived at all of the elements of a perfect Bayesian equilibrium. To recap, the robust type always attacks. The vulnerable type only attacks with probability 4/9. After observing player 1 attack, player 2 believes he is robust with probability 3/5. She then resists with probability 1/3. Because of all the indifference conditions, the algorithm to solve for semi-separating equilibria is tougher than pooling and separating equilibria. As such, we will be working through some more examples in the next couple of videos. I hope you enjoyed this, and I hope to see you next time. Take care.